So my tips, they work on a gradient. Some of them are good. Some of them are so good that whenever I make a video about them, they're likely to get fixed. I think today is one of those videos that once I make a video about this tip, there's a chance that it gets fixed. And it involves bosses in Throne of the Tides and how to completely mitigate damage in some aspects, or it's kind of buggy in some areas. And so I think that these are some things that, while they make the fight a lot easier, I would not be shocked if they get changed in the future. However, in the meantime, we could talk about using them today. And so first and foremost, we have the second boss of Throne of the Tides, Commander Ulthok. I kind of talked about this in the major video, if you watched that, wherever I was covering everything that you need to know about the dungeon videos. But the most important thing about this boss is that you can actually line of sight the shockwave. And so whenever you line of sight the shockwave, you're going to see it come up in here in a second. Whenever you line of sight that, your group can get the dot if they're not lining, but you see I'm LOS of the boss, and so I'm not able to get the dot, get knocked back, or take the initial damage from the boss. And that's actually a pretty big deal. That's a large portion of the damage coming from the fight is via that shockwave. And so that's a really big deal. Another thing that I think is likely to get fixed is on Aronach's Stone Speaker. There's like spots around the room. How do I even describe this? There's spots around the room where if you have the boss tanked into the wall, the totem can only spawn on top of the boss. And this works very similar to, if you remember, like Azure Vault, like crystal spawning. I would say it's kind of similar to that, and that's kind of why I believe that it's going to get fixed. And so if you look at where we have the boss tanked here, we have him tanked like back of the room, like into the corner. And so whenever he goes to spawn the totem, which again, the totem is the most important part of this fight, making sure that you have enough damage to kill every single totem and not rot out is by far the most important part of the fight. It spawns right on top of him. Because the alternative is like, the totem spawns, 10 yards away or something like that. And now it can be a bit difficult whenever you have the earthen spikes coming out of the ground to kind of keep the boss in the spot. However, like even just like spawning the totem on top of the boss, it allows for an insane amount of boss cleave, especially if you're playing with a Havoc Demon Hunter. And this just allows you to kill the totems off a lot faster. And I think the spot's OP. Like I think that this is something that's also likely to get fixed. And so use these at your own discretion. Mythic Plus is, kind of the Wild West. You're rarely likely to get banned for doing things like this. However, I think that these are strategies that you can employ in your own keys, and they make them a lot easier, especially if you're doing like pugs and you're the tank and you tank the boss into the wall and you have the totems spawning on top of the boss. Like that's just going to make your DPS's lives really easy. Now the Earth Fury is a bit tricky to deal with, but overall, these are the tips for today. I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.